Welcome to our lovely future humans, our 5D collective, to those who are regulars and you. We're going to chit chat some more about those who know how to be themselves thanks to self mastery and our knee jerk reactions, which means reactivity to liars, like my facade friend. So there's a bit of story time, and we are not going to be discussing in depth and detail all the attachment trauma education that made me very well aware of who hypocrites are, even more than when I was a teenager. Oh, and also God, He loves to remind me to stay humble, and I love that He does that. For those who don't believe in God, it's okay. Dark matter, dark energy. Thank you, scientists, the good ones. The bad ones are still good, because as a pseudoscience lady, I appreciate that they're going to get us off the planet one day and or figure out how to help us continue to, live. However, the bad people in the future life of mine are actually people that I know from this lifetime, which is why I love being a mystic and a spiritual one. And I know how to tell you there's only one God for Maria, and that's because you can call it whatever you want. Actively, it's a frequency, and the part that gets me to continuously improve personal growth. Thank you, Oversoul. I love it. All of it. And no, I'm not delusional. My left brain is not a delusional idiot. It's actually a 2-year-old and 3-year-old, like any other person. So what I love about smart people is they prove the truth. And the truth is that all of God's children are perfect, and the bad children, no. So as a child of God, I'm going to speak to you like I'm speaking to a child, because everyone has a 3-year-old. And I don't give a shit about the 16-year-old version of the spiteful human beings who did not get gifted that which is called respect as a 3-year-old, or, I'm sorry, lucky. Yeah, lucky is the better word. I'm a differentiated self. Let me tell you a story I told Dr. Daniel Siegel. This is how Maria, as a 3-year-old, told her primary caregiver, meaning the mother of mine, that she couldn't spank me. You can't spank me. It's my body. And I'm pretty sure she's like, really? And she spanked me. What happened when she was done? I went to make my suitcase. I'm not afraid of my mother. She's not a monster, and she never called any of her children monsters. And even if you're using the word, if you're joking, great. If any grown-up wants to call a child a monster or a human being a monster, I have something to say. I'm very protective and defensive of all my brothers and sisters. There's no Lucifer or monster inside any of them. I told God that by the time I was 20. This is why I'm bringing in Maria, because this is my subjective world and experience. And let me tell you, my facade friend, the only man I ever acted like an adaptive child part, said, you're out. And it wasn't I'm canceling you. And it wasn't I'm ghosting you. It was, let me tell you the story. Hold on for it. So what's a knee-jerk reaction? Well, objectify me and I will be silent, because I'm 4'9", and God in this lifetime made sure that I would be able to become the most brilliant version of myself. I'm a divine masculine and a divine feminine, and oh, do I love letting you know, twin flames don't send you down a spiral of hell. If there's one thing a divine feminine will let any human being know is, no, don't objectify me. And believe me, I have a tail, Eric, like the Little Mermaid didn't say to him, if you don't like it, I'm gonna leave. No, you can leave. I'm not going anywhere. I don't change for you. 3-year-old right here. I don't change for anyone, because I'm a whole self. It's called differentiated self. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel. So I'm proud to be Maria. You see what I'm saying? And when I see teenagers, they remind me all of my facade friend, and I still have the same 5-year-old knee-jerk reactions. So my child parts, they do come up. Difference is I'm a master of Maria, and I'm like, yeah, you don't need to make a big deal out of anything. It's not really that important when you meet morons and liars and betrayers and facades and more morons and liars. And so that's how I childishly will tell you I don't actually like pretenders. And you find out the please appeasers after like a certain amount of years, because that's how good they are at hiding what they think and pretending that they like every bit of you. And you're like, I never asked you to agree with me. So everything was a lie. It's you brute. That's why as a 45-year-old woman going on 46, I don't think, oh my God, someone betrayed me, let me go and stab myself in the heart. It's, wow, there's another coward. Oh my gosh, wait, sorry, Peter Levine, thank you so much for explaining it. Today, I'm a 45-year-old who's gotten to settle down and sit with all the attachment trauma education. Wow. This guy, he's amazing. I don't know you, Ransom Stevens, but that Ransom, yes, nobody negotiates with those who are buffoons. And by the way, I'm a warrior in my lifetimes, but this lifetime I'm a warrior that's a lot more common sense. Anybody love logic? and heart. I love both, which is why when I'm seeing the pseudo intellectuals who are scientists and they're not just pseudo intellectually posturing, they actively think they're badass to the point of where they will speak to you like they know everything. That's when my Kali, she comes up, and then Shiva comes in, and then Krishna Lila, and it basically means in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Mwah. So help me God, thank you for making me humble and small so that I would be able to continue learning like a smart, actual human being versus the dumb idiots who booed me on a Friday evening in school. Yes, high school. And I got to college and I met more idiots, and now I have to watch them on TV. I don't actually think that society is advanced when we have immaturity out there. I think society is moving along just great and dandy, thank you God. And that's because, well, into the unknown, infinity and beyond, double infinity. There's a reason. I've been around for a long time. Yes, but we don't prove any of the spiritual stuff. The spiritual badass people don't really care if they believe in our mystic stories or not. Scientists, I love them all. The ones who think they know everything, I laugh at. Not let me make fun of you. It's because, are you scared of the unknown? So who are the bad people in the future of my life? Yes, they're not bad and they're not monsters. They're just the same left brainers who are so afraid of the right mode that they still don't understand what came first, the chicken or the egg. So whenever I'm hearing any person think they've done something amazing, like, oh my God, I just dismantled the belief of someone. I'm like, who? The morons who actually didn't realize that they're still afraid of the unknown. And that's how Maria feels and thinks about every person who doesn't understand who came first, the chicken or the egg. And why are you getting so upset about concepts? Do you not know how the world is created and that words really, they've, our species. So I'm letting you all in on a fun fact. This is what it is to be an expert yogi. I just don't have to use that word. And you know what? The expert yogis, they will know who an expert yogi is. Prophets will know who the prophets are. And the ones who want to keep it all in their own little institutions and their own little boxes. Wow. Did you have the ownership of these words by any chance? No, you don't, do you? But you don't like that I get to play with words the way I want. Why is that? You're not having fun in the playground of thoughts. That's probably because you're not having fun in the playground of emotions. Wait a minute. The left brain fascinated child. Yes, that's why I'm an annoying person. It's also why my loved ones will tell me, Maria, you are judgmental. And I'll say, no, I'm not. I just have a lot of opinions that I strongly am able to sit with. And then when I meet those who I consider cowards, I have learned how to back off. And that is what I'm still doing, as I'm still mastering Akash, the plane. You know what I mean? So I bring in mystic, spiritual, the human way. It's you learn how to master your brain, and it's amazing when you own it, which a lot of people don't own, which is why I still think, wow, you're going to call my brain a problem? You don't understand. You're shaming right now that which is called right here, it's gray matter. So I'm not going to say we're technology. Whenever I'm hearing science say consciousness is technology, sure, for you it is. For me, it's just God and creatorship. And I'm a mystic, so I know all the ascended masters. I'm a future human, everything. You put it all in. I'm not delusional because I know how to organize it. That's how an integrated brain works, of a human being who's grounded in reality, knows. Thanks, Sam Harris. I hope all the smart experts will hear you when you tell them cherishable beliefs can be falsifiable if you're grounded in reality. If you don't think that any of your beliefs can be falsifiable, then you are a person who's going to make fun of the flat earthers in a way of actually thinking that they don't mean anything. Well, I don't think they mean anything. They mean something, and it's a really good thing that they are checking that corner, because if for any reason any of our other brothers and sisters are wrong, we have a group that decided to do something that nobody else thought of. And that is why fascinated child, indulgent parent. That's what happens when left and right work together and you're a human being who doesn't have a point to make. I'm not out here trying to make you believe in Maria. I exist. Do you see me? I'm right here. Look, I'm in flesh. I'm not going to pinch myself hard because that would hurt. So when people don't accept who they are as a 3-year-old and they have shame somewhere, yeah, I don't get objectified. You can't spank me. It's my body. I went to make my suitcase. The other person, the other primary caregiver called father, biological, Yes, this is what I did when he called me the wrong name 3 times. It's all about Maria. It's Mystic's show right now. Stories, Maria Magic. Yes, I love magic, and science can prove it, and God also is here with me. And no, this is not confusing science and spirituality for integrated brains, but I did get a human being who's like, it's confusing science, spirituality. As a fascinated child, and as someone who knows the world does not revolve around me, I got plenty of brothers and sisters. They play the game of life their own way. And they don't have to have fun in life. My knee-jerk reaction is with assholes. I'm still learning how to handle that. Because that's when Maria becomes stupid, and then I sound like a little child. And on TikTok Live, anybody who joined, even though I'm pretty sure there weren't that many people who sat to hear me tell the story of why I was very upset. Because when a child gets disappointed because they thought that they had met another child, and I'm talking to all of you because you're all children if you own yourself. If you don't, then you're going to deny that you got a 3-year-old inside of you. I'm not going to be here with the 3-year-olds who deny themselves, because those are the same cowards who don't go to Patrick Tiahan and who don't understand why any grown-up who wants to call a child a monster, it's a good thing I don't need to be around any of those people, because my stare is one of judgment, not condemnation. It's just one of an integrated brain with no wounds inside, and I'm not an adaptive child, because the only person I was an adaptive child part 2 was my facade friend. You want to hear the story? Great. So what the left brain of the adaptive child part idiot teenager versions of themselves are delusional idiots, which is why I laugh. Because while I don't know all subject matters, no, I don't. I mean, really, I would love to continue learning about quantum physics. And when Sabine Hassa, whatever her last name is, thought that she was going to destabilize every human being by writing existential physics, it's like, yeah, no. Not the self-masters who are actual badass people, who are not afraid of which came first, the chicken or the egg, and who actively know how to conceptualize things without getting in their feels. Because that's how it works if you actually are intelligent, versus the people who like to just regurgitate shit out of their assholes. And I really have a hard time with it, but my mother taught me manners. And when someone says, "I deserve to be deluded," that's how desperate and manipulative. Yes, that word manipulative means fluff to Maria, because I'm like, that wasn't manipulative. Inside of me, I was like, it's not about, it's not about, what was it, whatever word came out of his mouth. And I wasn't laughing at him. It was just a decency. I didn't ever want to become his friend. 3 whole years, people, 3 whole years. Can you imagine? Guess who actually said, but you didn't even give them a chance. Basically, you're a bad person for not giving the chance. I don't have to become friends with all. So you don't love all people, because that's how people like to play this game. The ones who are morons to Maria. You see what I'm saying? I have chips on my shoulder. No, I have a lot of insecure, immature human beings who don't mind their own business. When somebody is saying, I know who I want to be friends with my 14-month-old amygdala. Everybody else does too. This is why science made me into a person who's like, wow, I've been right my whole life. I'm just Maria, and everybody else who doesn't know how to be themselves, stop being in my business. But guess what smart people like to say to a person like me? Subjective reality. I thought you accepted all people. You know what? You're right. Subjective reality. I don't need to be friends with all people. You want to call me a bitch? That's fine. Whore because I'm polyamory? Sure, go ahead. You know why monoamory and monogamy people make me laugh? And the polyamory who say, you're not poly enough? Because all of that isn't love. We all want one securely attached self figure. That's our mammalian heritage. So when science explains to a child who doesn't have an agenda why we do what we do, and you're like, wow, that makes so much sense, because those cowards, they continue to be cowards. My facade friend is who I'm going to tell you about, because all I need is one insecure human being who didn't heal, and that's why he's the star of the show today. Not my twin flames, because they came after. Oh, and it's a good thing God kept me away from them, because I would totally have regretted the stare I would have given them at this point, because they actually wouldn't be able to handle it. Yeah, now I can't give the stare anymore. Thanks, Peter Levine, for humbling a person of spirit. Because that's the part God made it very simple. Good, bad. No monster. Monsters would be scary. I don't see a monster inside the eyes of a person who might be clinically dissociated. No, who will be, and who might have DID, who is healable at this point in our journey, and who also has Patrick McNamara, neuroscientist, proving what happens to decentralizing and the self and religious experiences. So when someone has no agenda except to help people when you grow up, and you find out that they all are helpable, yeah, you can change if you need to and become your real self, or you can maintain that which is called the bad versions of Peter Pan, Lost Boys, and then you get to watch 3D, 4D as they continue with their stories. And we're going to make fun of them, meaning I am, because as a 5D mystic, I'm not planning to be taken seriously by any of those who are, scientists. They're going to still think that we're delusional. And sometimes when I look at my videos, I'm like, wow. I'm pretty sure I could look like a whack job to anyone who doesn't know me. You may be right, I may be crazy, but it might just be a lunatic you're looking for. However, I'm not going to structurally dissociate, present myself in front of somebody's door and go, knock, knock. You're my twin flame, and guess what? You have to be with me. Or think that if I even bother telling one of them that they were my twin flames, they still are, but now we have arrived at a very beautiful conclusion. I have. So yeah, you better bet Divine Feminine isn't thinking, I'm getting tested, oh my god, what should I ever do? At a certain point, it's they're choosing their fucking misery and let them go have fun with whoever they want. I have things to do, places to be. This isn't that hard. It's really simple. You either like to hang out with me or you don't. That's how easy it is to be yourself. So, knee-jerk reactions when people objectify human beings, you, and life. So when I see someone saying, I'm a marketer, by the way, did I mention that? So when someone says, here's how you're going to build a community, and they continue to make it very clear how they have an agenda behind what they're doing, I just think, helping people really should be about you caring of their best interest, not of you caring to prove that you have a one mode that fits all. So with that being said, while the delusional human beings who are out there decide to maintain not only the delusional idiot, but they're also judgmental asshole, I get to tell you, I judge, no. I actually observe. By the time I see your 5 hands, I know I have an adapted child in front of me. I, on the other hand, am able to say I can have emotions that come up and make me sound like a moron. And I also have declares that doesn't make me sound like a moron. That actually I learned thanks to my oversoul how not to share with everyone, because that's how it works when you meet your twin flames and you don't care if they think that you put a spell on you and now you're mine. That actually makes you think, wow, you think I'm that desperate, and wow, you actually think that's love, like me putting a spell on you? You actually think that that would happen? You can't break free will. That's impossible, because God always wins and all of his children have free will, except for the ones who don't believe they have any. And then again, the 4D, 3D think they know everything. So with that, anyone who thinks they have all the answers, it's very clear who they are. They're the left brainers who don't like the right brain, while I like my right brain and my left brain. And so in my prefrontal with my facade friend, the one time I was an adopted child, I said, after he lied to me, hid shit from me, and continued to not take ownership of that which he had done, but instead bring me the fake facade that teenagers do, which is pretend to be nice. Oh, I heard a great conversation about nice and kindness or something like that. I'm just gonna let you know, authentic people, they like to tell people the truth, but because there's so many sensitive assholes out there, you just learn how to spot it. Because by being able to tell you the truth and then noticing your reactivity, I'm going to be like, okay, this one's not one I can talk to. Okay, that one is one I can talk to, and that's it. And like I said, the pleasers come out of the woodwork eventually, and then you just recalibrate to remember they're insecure. Because authenticity will always come forth between all people when nobody's taking offense on anything. So that's how grown-ups do it. We don't be like, oh my god, they said it wrong. It's more like, okay, we're using a lot of new words today. That's great. We don't talk Shakespeare anymore. So between polyamory, monoamory, society can do whatever it wants. But let me tell you, everyone needs one securely attached figure, which is why if someone says, if they look away, your confidence is eroded, you know that person doesn't own their 0-1-year-old yet. So they're not a self-master. Therefore, they're actually manipulable like the back of their hand, because all I have to do is ding, and their heart will break. And then they don't know how to recuperate. And they also don't know how to use their brain in a way to grow. So is it funny to be able and poke at people? No. Could I? If I wanted to, yes. Would I? No, because I have that which is called conscious and integrity, and I would feel like a coward. Like the adolescent assholes I met, who I don't have a chip on my shoulder on, I just will never ever forget how they consistently pretended to be mean instead of just being vulnerable. And then I don't blame the children, I blame the grown-ups. And I will say this, I take very big responsibility of being a grown-up. Emotionally mature people, we're coherent, which is why no child is a monster. And the grown-ups are still monsters. They're not monsters. They just ended up not going down the path of the bright sides of neuroplasticity. And while some people do know change is possible, and I do too, we all know drama kings and drama queens are following each other around right now because I spot them like a hawk, and it's hilarious. Oh, I don't have to lift a finger because God takes care of everything. And as a mystic myself, I've seen Akashic, karmic, cosmic balancing, take place. So in the field, it's amazing. You don't ever lose yourself. You simply learn how to notice why 4D and 3D don't enlighten you. And so they gave me words throughout my years and stories that I've shared and stories that I've told. And this is why the scientists say, see, you have changed. I've expanded. I've not changed my personality patterns, my temperament, or my securely attached whole 3-year-old heart. Nope. It's just become stronger. And so I speak from 3, 4, 5, all of me, and say, yeah, I have emotions. I won't use them to say there's a monster and there's a not monster. I will say all the humans who are immature are dumbasses to a person like me, and they're fakos and they're clowns and they're Pinocchio on the island. All these smart ones come together and continue learning from everyone and know how science and spirituality come together and know no one has the one size fits all, because that's the whole point of free will, and how God tends to all his children and how they're all perfect. But if they don't reach healthy perfectionism, which means healthy shame, and therefore learn how to calibrate and use their nervous system, well then we have the non-metabolized 0-8-year-old trauma time going on and non-metabolized trauma stuff inside of them, which is why I am not going to say that we know what came first, the chicken or the egg. And that's how it works when you're a humble voice and potential servant, if you want to use that word, of that which is called God. And then when you hear someone say we don't let all in because otherwise we let bad Jojo in, you think, wow, who's the child that's still falling for that bullshit? Oh, I forgot. The same ones who don't believe science is one of God's creations because they've decided that it's against spiritual. And I think, wow, and who decided that the spiritual are all one? So whenever someone's using these little boxes, I'm like, there's a left brainer, and it doesn't mean they only use left, because you can't. They will have left, and they will have structural dissociation come up, and they will justify their delusional idiot, the narrative that comes up, while objectifying everything. And there's your adopted child making up the entire story that will fit the bill of how they're going to get their revenge. The revenge from who? From how they were treated when they were a kid. You see, this is the whole, it's all personal. So when I meet hypocrites like my facade friend, their core wounds are what I spot. And then I spot their assholishness. And then I remember they're only pretending to be mean because they're that vulnerable. All they want is a hug, but they won't want one from me because I'm a healthy perfectionist who can't lie in their face, and they will know this. And so at a certain point, they will have to make a choice. Do you want to be friends with someone who looks you in the face and says, look, dude, you're not making any sense whatsoever, and here's your inconsistencies. Liar, liar, pants on fire. No, I'm not knowing everything. I just know that I don't lie about who I am or what I speak. And no, I don't. I can be wrong. I actually know exactly how to speak. I can be wrong. Oh, I can fuck it up big time. Yeah, but I don't actually commit crimes in ways that I would feel ashamed of myself because I got smart by the time I was 14. Yes, we were all teenagers. So this is a sad part about all these adolescents watching shitty TV. They still have emotionally immature people making it, which is why whenever I'm watching it, I'm like, here's a criticism, here's a criticism, here's a criticism, here's a criticism. This is how Maria feels when she's watching anything. So I've decided to use our platform to talk about emotionally mature people who think of emotionally immature people not as monsters. No, and they can completely go there, get their neuroplasticity fixed. My facade friend, you don't talk sense to anyone. Thanks, Bezel Vanderkolk. So here's the story. Oh, he's amazing. Yeah, like any other person. My facade friend, I met him when I was 15 or 14. He's an asshole. He's selfish, like any other person on the face of this planet who will say you're selfish too. Yeah, but you know what? I can tell you why I would be selfish, and then I can tell you I won't take anything from you. I could also go on and on and on and on about how there is a difference between those who are selfish and those who are selfless, physiologically speaking, because I got the explanation. But I also know that I'm not going to, because you don't prove anything to people who are already talking over you, like my facade friend and any adaptive child part person. In my case, my adaptive child behavior was, I'm ixnaying you because you disrespected me. And it's really called healthy boundaries. But I can allow myself to know that I'm just as much of an asshole as anybody else out there, which is why I said we're all selfish. So my facade friend's an asshole, but at least I think assholes know how to speak their truth, until I figured out who the assholes are. They're the avoidants who just don't know that they're avoidance in a certain way. The anxious ones, they just whine, and they are easy to say, look, you just need to stop being afraid because I ain't going to dump you somewhere, okay? So the anxious, I'm able to recalibrate easily because I reassure them. If they don't like what I am, they say, I can't do anything else for you. Avoidance, they just hide away and pretend like you don't mean anything, or they look your way and think that you are actually missing out on them or something like that, which you don't think, oh my God, let me miss you. It's, I don't understand. Do you think I have no life? Because really, how desperate. So this is what I have an issue with. The people who don't realize that their 0 1 year old just wants their own self to be, like there for yourself, but it's also this primordial thing. So I'm lucky because I have a twin. I don't have this thing of aloneness. I'm just letting you know I did get lucky. And with my LBLT, I chose to have my guardian angel, which would be my twin, come in. So from a mystic perspective, I have answers. From a scientific perspective, I have answers. Maria didn't get broken as a 3 year old. She was a differentiated self. By the time I was 8, I got disowned by my twin. That felt like I was really in the I got disowned effective realism. My mother told me the truth. So that's why I got to become smart and not say, I want to world. It's about what feels right, not what is right. Because one, we're all feels, and I'm doing the opposite of what the cynic did. Oh, it's hilarious when he's thinking he has no feelings. You can't be without feelings. The difference is, do you know how to handle your reactive knee-jerk reaction? I do. It's sharing it with you all. So authenticity, this is what it is. And being a 3 year old. And so my facade friend, he still thinks I'm an asshole because he thinks I'm too serious. I, on the other hand, thinks he's an asshole because he did the cowardly thing, which was give up on himself. And that's every other person who will have given up on themselves. So betrayers are nothing more than people who maintain their teenager-ish attitude. They continue to pretend that they know how to be badass, and that's why they're not monsters. And once they've begun to look like Gargamel from the Smurfs, you just think, yeah, I can do the Care Bear power thing. I don't have to, though. They're doing fine with their 3D, 4D collective, and that's because they find a way to continue the gratification hits, the dopamine of their, rising from the ashes and whatnot, because that's the only thing that gets them up at night. In the morning, is having some kind of battle going on and thinking that they're so big and badass that they are saving the world. It's called savior complex. So some are martyrs, some are superiors, some are blamers, but at the end of the day, they're all basically pretending to be Superman or Superwoman. And then you think, did you really think God would abandon his children? And wow, wait, you don't understand. We need scientists to continue doing research because we want to get off the planet one day. Now, as for the infinite universe, unfortunately, as science explains, there's a way that dark matter, dark energy works. And it gives a very good explanation. I watched a whole documentary on all of it. It answered all my questions about life. And in the future, when the people who are doing the stuff they're doing, they didn't get approval from the galactic forces. And guess what they're trying to do? They're trying to make life live forever. Guess who's afraid of the ending? This is the end, my only friend, the end. So those who are not spiritual don't like to hear we're okay with life and death because, I don't want to die. God knows that, but it happens. And I won't remember Maria in my future lifetimes, which is what made me sad about some people who won't ever know themselves in this lifetime. And I'll meet them again, but they won't know who they were and I won't know who they were. But that's okay because, it's not a big deal. This is an expert yogi. This is an enlightenment soul age group. This is a human being who's grounded in reality, who can explain to you, my facade friend. He lied to me after I tried to tell him it's not time to date someone because you just got broken up after 14 years. Your first serious relationship. Give yourself time to heal. Your Achilles heel. You think life is meaningful with one human being. The woman is going to be the right one when she comes around. What does he do? He hides behind my back that he's in a relationship. He hides it for a whole week. He actually plays a little trick, and that was my number 2 scenario because my teenage boyfriend was scenario 1. That's how it works when you're unwinding things. I have a little bit of cold. So my facade friend, moving forward, he finally is getting back on his feet after, there it is. Life gave him his 3rd chance, meaning God, meaning source, meaning however you want, to make it to who he could have become. He doesn't choose that. And I saw as he decided not to. This was after a conversation we had about what the right thing was to do. So you don't talk sense to people who are cowards and who have shame and who objectify and who create stories and who basically don't go to get their inner child healed with a good therapist like Patrick Tiahan. Not some random human being. No, someone who can give them that which is called the process of reparenting, then the process of spotting when they're reacting with their child parts, and then that which is called becoming what I call a functioning child adult. I already know all about myself, which is why I mentioned the adaptive child part, because when I chose not to speak to my friend for 5 whole years, it wasn't because I was going to take him back. No, he disrespected our friendship. That's not about unforgivable. It's I have healthy self-worth. And everything that I did was for his best interest, not mine. And what does he do? He plays the clown and pretends to care, to want to spend time with me and a bunch more shit. And I don't do. Let me lie to you. When you're a friend of mine, meaning a bond, I say, I'm going to tell you how I think, and that's it. And you don't have to like it. And that's where I learned, though, after 5 years and him with his shit going down, as we spoke together, what his deal was, because you'll hear the timbre of insecurity. And that's what my friend taught me, was cowards are always afraid of getting left behind. And then I was not able to be so mean to the future ones that I came across and heard the same timbre. And then I found out from Peter Levine what happens to a poor child when they did not get the right environment. And the bird with the broken wing goes into the cave with the cat. And then I got to see, as a person who's kind, who's neutral, who's loving, gets tested again and again and again, just like Dr. Daniel Fox explains. And then I got to also see something called this black and white thinking, where blam, everything is just like complete reactivity. And I got to hear about the explanation from a lovely woman who's healing from narcissism and is in remission from borderline personality. Thank you, Kylie. You mean a lot to me, even if I don't know you. And as she's explaining to me how she reacted to the love of her life, telling her that he and her and they're the love of the life. If you're regular, you know all of these stories because you've been tuning in. And if you're new, it's fine because this is Mystic Story Time and kind of a late IHP, daytime IHP show. So long story short, I get to hear Kylie's explanation. I get to have a flashback because that's how it works when you are actually able to allocate these things. And you're like, wow, now that makes a whole lot of sense. Because really, I thought there was an exaggeration. And it was an interaction. I had a lovely communication and I got this reaction that was completely like exaggerated and without attachment trauma education or an explanation by someone who was experiencing what is this black and white thinking. I just didn't know what the fuck, but I didn't really care because, I got disowned at 8. I got rejected at 4. I mean, come on, people. Not everyone's going to like you or love you. So with that being said, I just know how to tell you all it's amazing to be Maria. And one day, when we get together, we're going to get to have fun talking about the ones who don't like to be themselves. But they don't know any better, so it's okay. Meantime, our knee-jerk reactions, we're going to get to practice spotting them throughout our self-mastery courses and classes and digital products. I have plans for us. But in the meantime, I do have to go because it's getting loud. And my facade friend, when we became friends again, I sat him down for 2 whole days, 3 years after I found out that he didn't hear anything I said. And in his face, I'm yelling in the car, all I asked you is to be yourself. And that's because he told me in front of all these other people, all of a sudden, that he doesn't believe in God or anything. And I'd been talking to him about my twin flames, about my clairs, about everything that I've been going through. And I'm like, never once did you say any of this to me. And here's where I didn't ask you to pretend to be yourself. Nice, kind, just be you. Speak your fucking thoughts and don't have me speaking about things you don't believe in, and then I need to hear it when we're having an interaction outside. So he taught me how immature people who don't know how to be themselves with people who are friends when you're down and troubled and so this is why betray what? If you meet people who are immature and insecure, like my facade friend, they're going to keep doing this shit over and over and over again. I learned from him how to leave it all alone. And so someone interrupting me, confusing science and spirituality, makes me laugh in my butthole because I have enough of people who think they know everything. And I don't know everything, which is where my facade friend comes in again, as masculines like to tell those of us who are divine empowered feminines and divine empowered masculines. You think you know everything, Maria. You think you know what the right answer is. You think you know what the right choice is. And I told my friend, yeah, I do know what the right choice is. It's called love and knowing how to face a person. This is not happening right now. I don't have a person facing a person, and I don't got the choice of love. What I got is the choice of cowardice, which is the same choice you're making, aren't you, my lovely friend? Not you, my facade friend. And he's like, yeah, I kind of am. You know what? I think I'm going to go and have a grown-up conversation. And no, he didn't. He chose his comfort zone. Yes. Is he happy? Yeah. He told me. He's like, yep, I learned what love is. And I said, yeah, you know what? You're my future life. You know what? You have the life you wanted here. You want to hear about it? Yeah. So this is what you are. This is who you're married to. This is exactly how we get into the lovely ship that we get. And he's like, yep, that's me. I'm like, yeah, I know that's you. And I know that's the life you wanted. But oh, you have the life that you got to learn how love works. That's great. I'm happy for you. And that's why I'm happy for my friend. Could he have done that which is the right thing? Yeah, he could have stopped betraying himself, gone to therapy, started to become a grown human being with someone like Terry Real, and then get into a serious relationship, maybe even open up a business again, maybe do a lot of other things. In the meantime, instead, he's stagnating. Like a bunch of other people who grow, like Grumpy, what's his face again from the Smurfs? Gargamel. So there's two groups of people. We're going to have fun here at HP with the ones of us who are basically everything except for Gargamel. And we know that there's no monsters inside of people, but that the world doesn't really have a beginning or an end, at least for now. That the universe, yes, scientists do give us a timeline. Sadhguru knows the timeline. He's an enlightened one. So do the scientists that are looking into the physics stuff. And usually, if there's replicable data, you're like, yeah, they're pretty spot on to something. So when in the future, these people who are breaking the galactic being laws about, yeah, you can't make us live forever because that's just not, they get taken, they get arrested. Yeah, there's protectors. I got to meet them. That's for another time. These are through my Akashic record readings, by the way. I'll never forget when I found out. It's thanks to my future husband. He and I are friends. And he and I talked about all this stuff. And in fact, we found out who saves us from the spaceship. So that was a good thing. And I found out more about our infinite galactic being forces. I do come from the future. I think I've mentioned that before. And we are going to continue with the mystic woo-woo pseudoscience lady because that's exactly why I'm not here to be science. I'm here to be spiritual, as that's how I was born. Oh, and the future is going to be looking bright. So there's no fear. Yeah, don't worry. God's fine. He's happy. The ones who don't like that we just like to do things our own way, yeah, I don't think it's called they know the right way. I think it's basically a structurally dissociated, adaptive child person who wants to do it their way, doesn't like to share, wants everyone to play life the way they want, and they like to organize words only in their way. And the 3-year-olds are like, look, I can draw outside the lines a little bit. I'm not going to freak out about it. That's healthy perfectionism, and that's what it means to be a child who's allowed to play and who's allowed to also tell you self-mastery. It's amazing. It's amazing, and I thank my entire Oversoul for putting up with me. I'm the bossy one of the two, Twin and I, and my entire Oversoul extended. I get to put up with them like Manny, Diego, and Sid, and they get to put up with me. And so we don't have chips on our shoulders, and we don't say we know everything, but we do say being ordinary. Now, that is something very intelligent, and we'll have some more. By the way, Orion, Enoch, and Odin. Yes, to be continued. Have a good one.